Maze Runner Death Cure. This is obviously the sequel to Maze Runner Scorched Trials, and that is the sequel of Maze Runner. This is the trilogy. This is the end of the trilogy. Something that we've waited a long time for. This movie got delayed because of the star Dylan O'Brien got injured doing a stunt, and it delayed the movie ages. But I think didn't benefit the movie, and I'll explain why in a little bit. But this movie stars Dylan O'Brien as well as some other young stars, and it is the trilogy. It is the end of the trilogy of the Maze Runner. And if you don't know, Maze Runner is basically a post-apocalyptic young adult kind of film. And then, you know, basically there's like the cranks, which are basically zombies. There's a virus going around that's killing people, and, you know, shit goes down. As anyone, you know, as stuff like this happens, it always does. It's post-apocalyptic, that's what you expect. But I have the first one, and I really enjoyed this one. I think this one was surprisingly great, and I really had a lot of fun with Maze Runner. Now, the second one came along, and I was less impressed. I thought the movie at the time was good. I was like, okay, that was a good movie to watch, gets me revved up for the third one. When the third one got delayed, it really put a halt on things, because everyone kind of had to go back and watch the second one. And when people watch the second one again, they go, okay, maybe it's not as good as we thought, and it's not. I'm going to be honest, the second one isn't very... It's alright, but it's nothing compared to the first one. So the third one we finally got here, and I was finally able to see the end of the trilogy. Now, this movie was good. That is pretty much it. This movie follows a lot of cliches and young adult shit that we'd seen before, and that is a big problem with this movie. Another big problem with this movie is that it goes for 2.5 hours. It goes for way too long, and you can get a lot of scenes in there that didn't necessarily happen. I went with a friend that loves pointing at shit like that, and he was like, nah, and he just gave me a bunch of things. I was like, okay, a lot of this shit didn't necessarily need to happen. Maybe cut it down to 2 hours, and you have a better movie. But, of course there's positives about this movie. The characters and Dylan O'Brien are phenomenal. The main core of this group is just, that's why you're watching it. And I really enjoyed seeing the dynamics between this group, and what's happening on screen was really fun to watch, and that was the biggest thing about this movie. And I mean, Dylan O'Brien by far is the best thing about this franchise. He's a phenomenal actor, and he killed it in this movie, as he has killed it in movies before, and even TV shows, Teen Wolf being one of them. But I think he definitely had to lead this movie, because this movie had a lot of elements that we'd seen before, and a lot of stuff, and a lot of action that kind of would have bored a lot of people. And I think what made me like it more than I think an average person is having the connection and really liking number one, and even number two I thought was alright, and it made me care about the third one coming in. If you had not seen the first two, or if you barely liked the first two, you're not going to like the third one, and I understand that. It does a lot of shit wrong from a point standpoint of movie making. It does a lot of dumb, ridiculous action scenes when you're like, well, you know, this shit's just crazy, like, what are you doing? But I think the main thing is the story, and the whole story in the general in the trilogy, and the characters make you give a shit. And I think without that elements, no chance. If this was a solo movie, I know it's the ending of a trilogy, but if this is a solo movie with different characters, people wouldn't give a shit. They'd probably regard this movie off really quick. But I had a good enough time with this movie because I was enjoying to see what these characters were doing and how this trilogy was going to end. And, you know, that's the thing. It just kind of... Yeah, it was good, but I wasn't blown away. I was semi-disappointed with this movie. I thought it could have been a lot better, but I think this movie is still enjoyable, especially if you like the first Maze Runner or even the second Maze Runner. If you like the Maze Runner franchise and you're really excited to see the third, I think you'll have a great time with this movie. I think it does do the things you wanted to do as the end of the trilogy, but as a movie itself, it does a lot of dumb action scenes, a lot of dumb, you know, story writing where they write off things that you don't, like, write in things you don't really need. I think definitely a time cut would have helped this movie a lot. I mean, that was part of the genre. I think it's meant to be a bit over the top and crazy, but, you know, I think this movie definitely held, you know, had Dylan O'Brien's holding on the shoulders, but I think when it comes to the first one, you're not going to beat it. I think the first one is just a great movie, and it's going to take a lot to beat the first one, and I think this is better than the second one, but it definitely weighs completely on the characters, and if you don't care about the characters, I don't think you're going to enjoy this movie as much. I'm giving Maze Runner Death Cure a C+. Again, guys, I think I will like this movie more than the average person, even with a C+ grading, but I don't think I loved it compared to even like a B- or a B or something like that. But I think this movie definitely is a specific audience, and if you're not part of that audience, I think you can fall by the wayside very easily. Again, guys, thank you guys for watching. My movies is a little bit shorter again. I assume just, I don't know, it's when you're talking about end of trilogy, stuff like that, you can easily get, you know, a bit caught up with a few things, and I could go on forever, but I'm not going to. Again, as every video happens, you can like below, you can comment below, you can subscribe if you haven't already, but of course, guys, have a good one. Hey, brother!